One of the biggest red flags about Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck's divorce is the fact that they have been living apart, completely separated. Now, although the couple made no public announcement about it, this has been confirmed by multiple sources and in multiple outlets. Now, it was first reported on May 16th that Ben had been staying at a Brentwood home all by himself. Then on May 19th, one inside source claimed that they had been staying in separate homes and the tension has been high. And then more recently, on June 28th, it was reported that Ben was moving his belongings out of their home and that the two of them only communicate now to discuss essential matters and updates. And these rumors expose their major marriage problems, which they've been hiding from the world. Now, Us Weekly spoke to someone back in May who said they started having issues a few months ago as Jen had started ramping up work commitments and prepping for her tour. They are on two completely different pages most of the time. Now, apparently around that same time, the couple did not celebrate Mother's Day together, which of course is a bad sign. It was also suggested that finances and parenting have made their issues worse. Meanwhile, another insider said Ben feels like Jen has a hard time feeling satisfied, and that's one of the issues they're facing. Ben is one of the only people who feels comfortable enough to be honest and real with Jen. It's part of why Jen loves him, but also why she's upset with him. Now, unfortunately, it seems like others around them are also pushing for divorce. JLo's mom allegedly told her, "Cut your losses and move on to avoid getting any deeper in this mess." She told her that she's wasted years believing that Ben was some kind of knight in shining armor. But according to her mom, he was not the person she built him up to be. It's taken too much of a toll on her, and because of this, she has lost sight of who she is and what she stands for. Meanwhile, JLo's sisters want her to file for divorce first and get on with her life so she can focus on her kids and career. And clearly, if her own family are giving her this advice, their marriage must be beyond the point of saving. Now, sadly, Ben's breakdown says a lot as well. It's clear he isn't going through the best of times at the moment. While rumors over the end of his marriage seem to be confirmed, the media spotlight that they're going through right now seems to be taking its toll. Now, Ben already proved it a few days ago after losing control and facing the paparazzi waiting for him at the exit of his mansion he shares with JLo in Beverly Hills. Now, he apparently went to pick up his personal belongings, taking advantage of the fact that his wife was on vacation in Italy. Now, one source close to him said, "It's no wonder he snapped, he's on the verge of a breakdown." Now, people close to Ben have been worried about him for a while because of what he's been going through in the past few months. They went on to say that he's in a very dark moment, and when he gets like this, his loved ones can't help but fear the worst. Now, since family has always been a fundamental pillar for Ben, he's now become very focused on his children, and surprisingly found a lot of support from his ex-wife, Jennifer Garner, who has not hesitated to offer her help to Ben, even though JLo is not thrilled about it. Now, apparently Garner always steps in when he gets like this, and she's been visiting him at home a lot to make sure that he's doing well. But again, JLo is apparently not too thrilled that Jen is stepping in like this, since it's well known that she has a lot of rules when it comes to her love life, which includes controlling how often Ben sees his ex-wife. Now, it's been rumored that the actor will be reunited with his ex-wife for Deadpool 3, and a source recently told Women's Day that JLo wants 24/7 access to the set and to be able to drop in unannounced. There are to be no promo joint interviews and/or photo shoots, and no after-work socializing. She wants Ben home as soon as he's done filming. So clearly, she is more than a little concerned about their workplace relationship. And JLo has also always been very strict on her idea of cheating, but she is known to take it a little too far. Now, she actually has a rule banning female flight attendants from her private planes because of her ex-husband's affair with one. And this is a rule that she has in place whenever she travels with Ben Affleck. Now, according to a news article, Jennifer was so angry after finding out her then-husband Mark Anthony had a fling with a flight attendant that she banned women from working on her private planes. Now, the two of them ended up splitting in 2012, but she clearly still carries that resentment with her. So much so that she can't trust these women to be around Ben either. Now, several corporate flight attendants came forward and confirmed that Jennifer brings her own male flight attendant, who is really just her personal assistant. Talk about bending the rules. Now, J-Lo allegedly keeps Ben on a tight leash about other things too. Before they got married, she demanded that he had to be in the best physical shape. Now, after the couple rekindled their relationship, she put him on a strict diet and workout regimen. According to an inside source, when they first started dating, Ben was up at 5 a.m. hitting the gym with J-Lo. Now, she told him this is unacceptable and she expects him to pick up the slack and wants him working out every day and eating right, no excuses. Now, the singer has also put her foot down when it comes to Ben's drinking. She's not a fan of drinking and partying and has always had a strict limit, but she changed this rule completely because of Ben's struggles. But you see, that's the other thing. With all of these divorce rumors going around, it's become very apparent that they are totally different people. While Ben is known as a more chill celebrity, J-Lo is the complete opposite. Now, she allegedly has a rule where she does not allow staff to talk to her directly or look her in the eye. In one instance, when contractors were hired for a job that could take up to a year on her house, they were informed that they were not to communicate with her at all. An inside source said she has made it clear that if any of the contractors, drivers, or domestic help make eye contact or speak to her, she will not be impressed. Now, she doesn't speak to salespeople, restaurant or hotel staff, or flight attendants. She only talks through her assistants. One flight attendant famously exposed her rude behavior. Apparently, when he asked Jennifer if she wanted a drink during a flight, she flat out ignored him, turned her head and told her assistant, "Please tell him I'd like a Diet Coke and lime." He said she wouldn't even look at me. It was sad. She seemed so sweet in her movies. Now, it's no wonder the singer is rumored to be entitled and superficial, because so many regular people have had the unfortunate one-time experience of being snubbed by her. And J-Lo's diva behavior actually goes back decades. Just ask fellow actress Rosie Perez. Now, they met back in 1991 during an open casting call for Living in Color. At the time, Perez was the show's choreographer and Lopez was auditioning to become a member of the dance troupe known as the Fly Girls. Now, her audition was unsuccessful, but Perez saw a star quality in J-Lo and actually pulled some strings to get her in. But after she was in the group, it became clear that Lopez didn't get along with her fellow dancers. According to Perez, she was labeled as a diva right away, saying all the girls were coming into my office complaining how she was manipulating wardrobe, makeup, and me all to her advantage. Perez said she didn't believe in it at first, but then J-Lo screamed at her saying, "I know I'm good, I'm better than any of these girls and you know it." Now, what's worse is after J-Lo left the show and made it big in the music industry, she went on talk shows trashing her former choreographer. Perez also implied that J-Lo ghosted her. She said, "I called her up, she wouldn't pick up. Frustrated, I left her an irate message on her answering machine, and instead of calling me back and hashing it out like friends do, she went on a major talk show and reiterated my lashing." Not to forget the fact that Jennifer also allegedly got a German hotel maid fired for asking for an autograph. Now, the staff member was working at the luxury Melia Hotel in Dusseldorf, Germany in 2012, and she was a big fan of J-Lo and worked up the courage to knock on the star's hotel door to ask for an autograph, but she was promptly turned away. She then claimed that she was fired the day after. She told The Sun, "I am an incredibly big fan, so I took all my courage and rang the bell to get an autograph, but I was rejected by 2 assistants at the door. A day later, the cleaning company that employed me at the hotel called and said that Miss Lopez had complained. I was fired right there on the phone." Now, after receiving a rightful amount of backlash, the pop star wrote on Twitter, "Come on, thought you knew me better than this. Would never get anyone fired over an autograph. First if I heard of this was on Twitter, #hurtful." So clearly she's been a controversial figure for quite some time, and fans are pointing this out now that they seem to be on the brink of divorce. So what's in store for this couple in the future? I guess we'll just have to wait and see, but I think it ends with divorce papers. Well, that's all for our list of obvious red flags about Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck's divorce. Are you Team Bennifer, or are you hoping that they split once and for all? From cheating to wanting kids to diva behavior, Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck are headed for divorce, and here's our list of secrets that destroyed them. Now starting off, we have Ben's cheating past. Not even a month after their 10-year wedding anniversary, Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck announced that they were getting a divorce. This came as a surprise to a lot of people, as throughout their marriage they seemingly had a very healthy relationship. Now it turns out that was not the case for as long as we thought. When the pair did divorce, there were rumors going around that Ben had formed a relationship with their children's nanny. Now of course he denied these rumors, with a rep for Ben saying that the story was complete garbage and full of lies. However, later in a conversation with Vanity Fair, Jennifer Garner confirmed that yes, Ben had an affair with their nanny. She said that there were lots of reasons for their split, but this was definitely not something you can ignore. She then went on to say, "It's not great for your kids for a nanny to disappear from their lives. I've had to have conversations with my children about the meaning of a scandal," she said. Now in that same interview, the actress said, "No one needs to hate him for me. I don't hate him. Certainly we don't have to beat the guy up. Don't worry, my eyes were wide open during the marriage." Next is Jen wanting a baby. Now a source exclusively told Life in Style that J-Lo has been trying to persuade Ben to have a baby via surrogate, and claims that she finally got him to cave in. The source says Jennifer has become passionate about getting yet another second chance, having a baby with Ben. She nagged him until he went along with it, added the source. Ben was completely happy with the blended family they already have, but he loves kids, that's why he agreed to having another. At the end of the day, he wants Jennifer to be happy. But I mean, it doesn't really feel like he wants another kid. Now Ben has 3 children from his previous marriage, while Jen has 2. Now they're allegedly in the planning stage, with Jen looking at surrogates, but with the rumors of a divorce and the pair currently living apart for the time being, adding another kid into the equation doesn't sound like a good idea at all. Then there's Ben's addiction. Ben has been open about his addiction to alcohol. He first checked into a rehab facility in 2001, completing a 30-day residential rehabilitation program for alcohol abuse. He then sought treatment for alcoholism on several occasions in the years since, getting professional help in 2008, 2017, and again in 2018 after his divorce from Jennifer Garner was finalized. Now he briefly relapsed in 2019, but said he wouldn't let it derail him, admitting, "It happens, it's a slip." Now that same year, the actor acknowledged that being an alcoholic is something that he deals with on a daily basis, saying on the Today Show, "It doesn't have to subsume my whole identity and be everything, but it's something that you have to work at." Now since Ben's addiction has played out so publicly, it's become unfortunately common for fans to speculate about his health, particularly after he married Jennifer Lopez. For example, a video clip of Jennifer and Ben having a seemingly tense conversation at the premiere for her movie Shotgun Wedding went viral in January after fans suspected the pair were arguing over Ben's drinking. Now that things appear to be rocky between the two, maybe Ben has relapsed again. Now let's talk about Jen exposing their relationship. Ben was taken aback when Jen shared with songwriters the private letters that he wrote to her to serve as an inspiration for her upcoming album, This Is Me Now. Per Variety, in a preview for her forthcoming Amazon Prime documentary, The Greatest Love Story Never Told, Jen had invited musicians to their home and gave them access to Ben's love letters. Now ironically, Ben walked in at that very moment and was surprised to see the letters being passed around. "I did really find the beauty and the poetry and the irony in the fact that it's the greatest love story never told," he said to the camera. "If you're making a record about it, that seems kinda like telling it." Now reacting to the way J-Lo shared Ben's private letters, several Twitter users admitted that they found it invasive. Sharing personal love letters with a bunch of people without the writer's permission seems like a very weird thing to do, one person wrote. "Literally cannot imagine sharing love letters with strangers, this is so invasive," another user said. "When you write something deeply intimate to your partner that comes from a very vulnerable place, one of the worst things a partner can do is show these to others," someone tweeted. Another one said, "It's truly inconsiderate to release it without telling him, especially considering he was probably being vulnerable," another user agreed. And I gotta say, I think it was a bad move on Jen's part. On to relationship rules. Jennifer's relationships are often in the spotlight, as she's been in several high-profile relationships that made headlines all over the world. From 2004 to 2011, she was married to Mark Anthony, and they had twins together. In 2017, she made headlines again when she broke the news that she was dating former New York Yankee Alex Rodriguez. Now rumors spread that J-Lo would only consider marrying A-Rod if he agreed to a list of demands. Reportedly, he'd not be allowed to talk to any woman under the age of 40, which is just super controlling and gross. In addition Additionally, J-Lo loved his physique and wanted a guarantee that he wouldn't let himself go once they got married. Now, none of these rumors have actually been confirmed, but it does seem pretty realistic to me. Now, we know that Jen and A-Rod didn't work out as she's now married to Ben, but I'm sure she has rules for him too, which is just unfortunate. Then there's the fact that Jen is a diva. Now, according to several of J-Lo's former staff members, Jennifer earned herself the nickname Pay Low because she paid her staff around 50% less than they could make elsewhere. Now, this rumor has been going on for years. As you see, way back in 2003, Jennifer was spotted in Vegas with her then boyfriend, Ben Affleck. Now, the pair had a big win and Ben decided to drop a $2,000 tip to the dealer, but before he could scoop up the generous award, J-Lo snatched up the cash and swiped it for $200 instead. Now, Jennifer's reason for paying her staff so little: she had to work hard to earn her money, so should everyone else. Now, this is just so embarrassing for her. If she had to work hard to earn her money, shouldn't she try to help make it easier for others because she knows how hard it is? She just seems so entitled, and it's just gross. Moving on to Ben not liking the spotlight. Now, at a separate point in Jennifer's documentary about her album, Ben discusses the subject of privacy more broadly when talking about his and Jen's relationship, which was rekindled in 2021, almost 2 decades after they called off their 2002 engagement. He said, "Things that are private, I always felt are sacred and special because in part they're private." He added, "When Jen and I broke up before," he said, while looking back at the end of their engagement in 2003, "the catalyst for that was this massive amount of scrutiny around our private life." However, he did suggest that the couple didn't necessarily share the same viewpoints when it came to having a romance in the public eye. "I had a very firm sense of boundaries initially around the press, while Jen, I don't think, objected to it the way I did," the star continued, "and I very much did object to it." Now we have J-Lo's failing tour. So we all know that J-Lo released an album called This Is Me Now, and she made a movie for it, and then a documentary for it. Now, it debuted at a disappointing number 38 on the Billboard 200, but despite this, J-Lo decided that she would go on tour with this album. Now, J-Lo first announced this tour in the middle of February, initially as This Is the Me Now tour. A week later, another 3 shows were added, but however, in mid-March, several tour dates were quietly removed without explanation. Then, the tour's name had been changed from This Is Me Now to This Is Me Live, the greatest hits. So instead of it being a tour for that specific album, she's having one of her own era's tours. Now, it's been cited that low ticket sales is a possible reason for emphasizing J-Lo's back catalog. Us Weekly reported that Jen was disappointed in the tour's lackluster ticket sales, but remained proud of the new projects. Jennifer is very focused on her latest project and doesn't want bad press to get in her head, they said. Now, if you go to Ticketmaster, there are a lot of tickets left, which is honestly just embarrassing. She should just play smaller venues or lower her ticket prices. Next up is not spending time together. Now, Ben and J-Lo have not been spotted together recently. For example, at the beginning of May, Jen attended the Met Gala all by herself. Now, this was shocking because Jen was a co-chair for the gala, but Ben was missing from the event. Now, Ben has been filming The Accountant too, and it's said that he skipped the event because of his schedule, but the night before, he was spotted at Tom Brady's roast in LA. Not to mention that J-Lo is gearing up for her tour, This Is Me Live, the greatest hits. Now, she'll be on the road from June 28th to August 17th, and with her being so busy with this, she won't really have that much time to spend with Ben, and it will just put more space in between the two. Not to mention, even now, she has so many rehearsals for the tour, maybe all the time apart will be negative and will really result in them getting a divorce. And finally, we have their fights. Now, a lot of the pair's fights have been caught on camera, and it's been awkward. Ben found himself at the center of attention after he was shown looking bored and miserable while he and Jen attended the Grammys. The pair went viral once again after the cameras caught them having yet another tense-looking exchange. In the clip, Ben could be seen leaning in to whisper in Jen's ear, only for her to turn her head suddenly and sternly say something to him. She then puts her hand to her chest and looks to tell Ben to sit up as he immediately adjusts his posture. Fans on Twitter had a field day guessing about what the husband and the wife husband-wife duo could have possibly been fighting about, with people speculating that Ben's unusual behavior on the night may have been because he was drinking. Well, that's all for our list of the top 10 secrets that destroyed Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck.
So why is Ben calling it off with J-Lo? We've got all the possible reasons why this couple is on the outs. So if you didn't know, it's been kind of big in the news. Jennifer recently launched her album and a lot of other things. This Is Me Now. This was like a self-financed $20 million multimedia campaign. And then she also launched the big film, This Is Me Now, a love story. You sense this? Yeah, it's about the rekindling of the romance with Ben. No pressure. And then you've also got the documentary, The Greatest Love Story Never Told. Well, until it was told. What was it about? The making of the record and the film. There was also supposed to be a tour, but So when Ben popped up in the documentary, it was to express concern because he didn't want his private love story being used for something he didn't want. Turns out the documentary was named after a scrapbook that he gifted Jennifer for Christmas in 2021, and it had every letter and email they'd written to each other over the last 20 years. I can see why he wanted that private. Jennifer was like, oh no. She showed the book to her producers and songwriters on the first day of making this album, without asking or telling Ben. She's like, it was our Bible, we just left it in the studio. This precious thing filled with 20 years of memories that somebody else wanted private. Yeah, this is all mentioned within the first 5 minutes of the documentary, and right out of the gate, Ben is not shy about his discomfort. He is shocked that Jennifer would share something so personal with her collaborators and now with the world. Yes, art does come from making something personal, but when you're making somebody else intentionally uncomfortable with your art and kind of violating consent, it's not a good move. So J-Lo did recently announce that she was canceling the tour attached to this whole media run, and that's yet another red flag pointing to a divorce. So while rumors about this relationship have continued to circulate on social media, a source close to J-Lo set the record straight about one item making news: the couple quietly selling their $61 million Beverly Hills mansion. This property has like 12 bedrooms, 24 washrooms, a 12-car garage, sports complex, I could go on and on and on. Thank you Wall Street Journal for all that information. So this place, which the couple moved into about a year ago now, apparently just isn't the right long-term fit for either of them. This is once again from that source. Apparently Ben never liked the house. It's too far away from his kids. Whereas J-Lo was like, oh, it's too big for her. It's too big for the diva. Okie dokie, once again, red flag. So even before the news about selling their home, everybody knew Ben and her weren't exactly living together anymore. And that little tidbit of news was confirmed by so many sources and so many outlets. For starters, TMZ reported on May 16 that Ben was staying at a Brentwood home all by himself. I get wanting space to focus when you're on a job, and he is currently working on a movie, but the timing, little sketch. Now that was confirmed by US Weekly later that same day. Then on May 19th, an Entertainment Tonight source claimed they've been staying in separate homes and the tension has been high. The mother of two was seen house hunting in Beverly Hills without Ben, instead with some gal pals. And if you've been through a breakup, you know you need your friends for support, because apparently he's just focusing on his work and his kids. So he's moved out and they're gonna have to sell that home. Yeah, well, it's up for sale. Look, it's only been a year. Like, I get I've already said this, but it's just, talk about a house flip. So fans were very quick to point out the pair have been spending a lot of time apart lately. They've been attending a lot of events without each other, other than stuff for the kids, which I get wanting to stay together for the kids. For starters, J-Lo was seen in a casual sporty look when she was showing up for rehearsal in LA, and I get it, he might not have accompanied her to rehearsal, but it was like, little weird. Okay, here's one thing. She was solo for her co-chairing duties at the Met Gala, the big fashion event of the year. Everybody was shocked that Ben wasn't there. Now yes, he was busy with work, but like, he appeared at the roast of Tom Brady May 5th, the night before, which kind of cancels out the too busy for the Met Gala excuse that he was playing with. During one recent outing together, when the pair was out together, it was kind of strained. Neither of them were cracking a smile when they were grabbing lunch. They've also appeared tense during previous outings. Let's see, they went to St. Bart's. That was a heated discussion. Cameras caught them, they were fighting. Just months before that, in September, which is last year folks, we're going pretty close here, Jennifer was seen looking very tense as she sat in the passenger seat of a car alongside Ben as they drove around LA. And they also raised eyebrows when they were seen attending the premiere of The Mother together. Now this was J-Lo's movie. So they were posing on the red carpet, you know, where everybody's going like, okay, picture, picture, smile, smile. Well, Jennifer had a frown on her face and she was gesturing towards Ben and he looked angry. Yes, there was a lip reader that did clarify that it wasn't an argument, but it looked like one. So after they were snapped having their very tense conversation, they soon reverted to Hollywood mode. They had the big grins, they had the little kisses. It was just like, So what did the lip reader confirm? Well, J-Lo asked Ben if her low-cut top was showing too much. And he's like, no, it looks fine, honey, which, doesn't sound cute. Now later when they got their posing and they were all cutesy, he was like, oh, don't worry, babe. And it's like, okay, what are we worrying about? Now Jennifer seemingly responded by saying, come close close to me, which like if you've gotta guide yourselves together, not good. So J-Lo actually has a habit of being a bit of a diva, like a big one, whereas Ben is not exactly a diva himself, which might be a cause for a split. You wanna know how big of a diva J-Lo's been? Once, she had somebody fired for being a fan. Now this was a maid in a hotel room. She was just cleaning. This was in Germany during J-Lo's 2012 World Tour, and she was a big fan. Her name was Prey, by the way, and she tried to ask J-Lo for an autograph, and then 2 of J-Lo's assistants stopped her. Soon after, Prey was out of a job. Yeah, the cleaning company that employed her called her and said, Ms. Lopez complained, and she was fired over the phone because of asking for an autograph. Now, J-Lo denied the claims with a tweet being like, come on, thought you knew me better than this. Would never get anyone fired over an autograph. First I heard of this was on Twitter. Well, if that isn't enough to prove J-Lo's behavior, we've got more. There was an old interview from like ages ago, and she wasn't speaking too well about all of her colleagues in the industry. Now, for context, J-Lo is a multi-hyphenate. She's a dancer, she's a singer, she's an actress. Well, way back in the day, she had this to say about Gwyneth Paltrow. She was like, tell me what she's been in. I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work. J-Lo even had stuff to say about Madonna, being like, do I think she's a great performer? Yeah. Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm hard to run people when they say, oh, I can do that. I can act. I'm like, honey, don't spit on my craft. Well, when J-Lo said this, she'd only done Selena and Anaconda in terms of acting roles, which like, not something to be bragging about. Personally, don't think she's a strong actress. According to a lot of J-Lo's former staff members, she's earned the nickname Pay Low because she paid her staff about 50% less than they could find elsewhere. And this has been going on for years. If we're talking like 2003, back around the first time J-Lo was with Ben, so they had a big win and Ben was like, okay, here's a $2,000 tip to the dealer. But before the dealer could actually grab the reward, J-Lo snatched it up and dropped $200. And what's her reasoning for paying everybody so little? She's like, well, I had to work hard for my money, so should everybody else. Like, it's just so embarrassing. Like, if she had to work hard, shouldn't she try to make it easier for others since she knows how hard it is? Cause like, it just gets worse over the years. One more story on this. In 2012, reports surfaced that J-Lo demanded that staff working for her don't make any eye contact with me. Don't speak to me. This was while she was having work done on her San Fernando Valley home, and she demanded that none of the helpers, none of the drivers, the contractors, nobody interact with her. And also, when she's flying first class, don't bother her. Even if you're a flight attendant just trying to do your job. Apparently there was one time where a flight attendant offered her a drink and she just like did not acknowledge him. She said to her assistant, please tell him I'd like a Diet Coke and lime, which like, so rude. So her relationships have always been in the spotlight. She's been in like, I don't know, several high profile relationships that have made headlines. From 2004 to 2011, she was married to Mark Anthony. They had those twins. And then in 2017, she was with former New York Yankee Alex Rodriguez. Now, here's where the diva control issues come into play. Apparently she would only consider marrying A-Rod if he agreed to a list of demands. So he couldn't talk to anybody under the age of 40, any woman under the age of 40, which gross. And also, she wanted a guarantee that he won't let himself go once they get married. So we know that marriage didn't work out because she's now, well, maybe married to Ben, but what rules did he have to agree to keep her happy? So Ben was actually recently spotted out on an outing with former wife Jennifer Garner. They were seen earlier this week talking together. Jennifer Garner appeared relaxed and casual. So like, is he still pining for his ex? Or is he looking for advice on how to break things off with J-Lo? So with Ben and J-Lo constantly working on their own separate projects, time and distance can be making the heart grow colder instead of fonder. According to insiders, J-Lo was reportedly throwing herself into work, which has always been an outlet for her to stay busy and distracted. So yeah, she has been busy with a lot of press tours for Atlas and The Greatest Love Story, so it seems like she's coping with marital issues by focusing on her career. Ben feels like she has a hard time feeling satisfied, and that's one of the many issues they're facing. He's also one of the only people who feels comfortable enough to be honest and real with her. It's part of why she loves him, but also why she's upset with him. And finally for today, it seems like the duo are just regretting how rushed the marriage was. A lot of insiders have been non-stop dishing about what's been going on, and one source from Page 6 is a lot. So this was somebody connected to Ben, and they noted that if there was a way to divorce on grounds of temporary insanity, apparently he would. He feels like the last 2 years were a fever dream, and he's just come to his senses now and understands there is just no way this is going to work. Yikes!